Today I have with me the lovely Tom Deere.
Lovely. Hi.
Hi, Tom. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Zelda?
Good, thanks. So before we dive in, I would love to start off with a little bit of an intro about yourself.
Sure. I'm Tom Dheere. I'm a New York based voice actor, theater trained, classically trained, decided to be a voice actor in 1994. Got my first demo in 1995, did my first voiceover in 1996, went full time in 2011. 2005, my career turned the corner in 2011. Notable credits include Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Redemption
Yeah.
2. I was Inspector Gadget in the Inspector Gadget Mad Time Party video game. I narrated a Danielle Steele audiobook. But what I'm mostly known for are the thousands and thousands of explainer videos and e-learning modules and corporate narration and industrial narration. That's the bulk of the work that I do is the non-broadcast informational stuff. And in addition to being a full-time voice actor, I am a voiceover business and marketing consultant. My job is to help you navigate the voiceover industry with all the grown-up poopy stuff that you didn't know that you needed to know before you got into the voiceover industry, so I can help you with writing your business plan, marketing strategies, branding, time management, filing your taxes, understanding AI and unions and pay-to-play sites
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff.
Oh, I'd love to have you on for that as well, for like the taxes stuff, because that is so essential, and that's really don't what people don't really know how to do. Like, the whole 1099 thing. I'm like, this, and this. It really kind of hit me in the face when I was doing this. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. There were so many things
Yeah.
that I mean, and I will get into that later, but I do want to start off with the beginning. So tell us how you kind of found that passion and that spark for voice acting. Like, what kind of steered you in that direction?
Well, like I said, I was a theater trained actor.
Mm-hmm.
I had 4 years of college, got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting. I went to the National Shakespeare Conservatory here in New York City for one year of a 2 year program, and then I left. I was not happy for various reasons. So I was like 22 and kind of like, I want to be an actor. I'm right here by New York City. I have no idea what to do. I feel lost. And I was still living at home at the time, and my mother was reading a copy of a magazine called New Jersey Monthly, which has like, the theater and the, vacation things and the restaurants and all the stuff that's New Jersey related. And in the back, there was a bunch of classifieds and want ads, and one person was advertising themselves as a voiceover coach.
Mm.
And my mom said, Tom, what's voiceover? And I had just a vague awareness of it. It was the word side hustle wasn't a term in the 90s, but for lack of a better term, I only understood it as vaguely as a side hustle that theater and on-camera actors would do occasionally to make money while they were pursuing their real acting career.
Mm.
And she said, you should give this lady a call. So I gave the lady a call. She said I had some potential, did a diagnostic. She's like, yes, you could be a voice actor. I worked with her for 6 months. And then she gave me a stack of Xerox copies of production company listings and said, start your cold calls. Good luck. Now, this
Oh,
was 30
wow.
years ago. This is 1995.
Yeah.
There was no pay to play. There was no social media. There was no home recording. There was no digital file delivery. There was nothing. I
Yeah.
had a cassette tape, you know, and a copy and a Xerox and like a ream of production company listings. And so, yeah. So the spark was I can tell stories this way. I can do all the
Mm.
things that I loved to do growing up, messing around with my friends and playing D&D and
Yeah.
enjoying comic books and all the geeky stuff that I loved and still love. And with theater, you know, I I still had a long way to go interpersonally, developing an understanding of interactive, socially interacting with people and understanding cues. I also had my own level of ego and insecurity and fear and indecisiveness and ignorance. So when voiceover came along, it just seemed to be a much better fit for me.
Mm.
And so it turned the spark of theater acting into a different kind of spark, that
Mm.
being
Yeah.
voice acting, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that your knowledge in theater easily translated over into voiceover? Had it helped or had it hindered in some aspects?
It was a huge help, and it was a bit of an impediment.
Mm.
Storytelling is a critical skill
Yeah.
to be able to be an effective voice actor. And I tell my students that before even considering voiceover, I would look into theater acting or on camera acting or training, opera singing, improvisational acting, stand-up comedy, anything that is a storytelling medium when you're getting up in front of a group of people and you are telling a story, whether it's through a joke or a song or a scene,
Yeah.
to find out if you really have that storytelling gene. A lot of people are attracted to the voiceover industry because they want to be in the cartoons that they watched growing up, or
Yep.
they want to be in the video games that they played, and that's great. But that doesn't mean you can act your way out of a wet paper bag.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or if you
Yeah.
can do voices, or I have an interesting voice. Well, I have an interesting pen. It doesn't make me a best-selling author.
Right.
You know, so the theater training translated very easily on that level is that this is another form of storytelling. However, when you're acting in theater on a stage, you know, you are acting to the senior citizen subscribers up in the back row. So there's a level
Yeah.
of projection vocally, and then there's a level of gesticulation and just the way you're carrying yourself with blocking or choreography or dance or whatever, that it's like if theater is pro wrestling, voiceover is boxing. Boxing it's here. It's like boxing is extremely intimate. Pro
Ooh,
wrestling
yeah.
is a performance. If you punch
Yeah.
somebody, you don't go like this. You cock back and you swing the haymaker so everybody in the nosebleeds can see you.
Yeah.
So translating that kind of storytelling from out here to right here, you know,
Yeah.
that was a bit of a learning curve. But so there's pluses and minuses.
Yeah. You had mentioned earlier about the shiny objects, you know, like anime and video games, animation, everybody, like 99% of the population, really. Like, if you ask anybody, why'd you want to get into voiceover, it might have been, it's likely animation, video games, anime, and all the other things. And I think one of the things that I have been previously harping on, which is why I wanted to ask you on for SkillsHub On Air, is there are other genres that people leave out. So what genres do you often work in? You mentioned e-learning, correct?
Yes. More than half of my work is what I call informational, non-broadcast content. When I say e-learning, corporate, industrial, it's all the terms are interchangeable, but all of it is things that you're teaching either students or employees or customers or consumers about how to do a thing, whether it's teaching third graders about fractions, or teaching construction workers about forklift certification, or teaching, cooks in a kitchen about knife safety,
Yeah.
and things like that. It's all like, I'm teaching you something, or it's you bought the thing at home and you're watching the YouTube video to learn how to put together the thing, or set up the video game console or whatever. Instructing, so there's teaching and coaching and guiding and instructing. That's the vast majority of the work that I do. I got into voiceover for storytelling. I did not have a genre in mind. I started with commercial because commercial's pretty much the baseline for
Yeah.
almost all voice actors, because we have all been advertised to our entire lives. So that's the genre that we have the most familiarity with. I also really believe that all voice acting is storytelling. If there's one thing that drives me absolutely crazy, Zelda, is when people say e-learning is boring. It's like, well, you know what? You're boring. You know what else is boring? Being hungry. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing worse than Sunday afternoon at 2:00, staring at the walls, dreaming of doing voiceovers, and you hear your stomach going, yeah, that's boring. You know what I mean? And I have learned that all voice acting is storytelling.
Yes.
Like the stereotypical thing is that people are like, oh, the worst thing in the world for voiceover is if you're teaching people how to pick their employee insurance. And that drives me absolutely bonkers, because I take that stuff really seriously, because I narrate stuff like that. And when I do, you know who I think about, Zelda? I think about the single mom with 3 kids. One of them has special needs. And that single mom is terrified of picking the wrong pharmaceutical plan, because they're terrified of not being able to get the right medicine and health care to her children. What's more important, that or pretending to be a dragon?
Right.
This is real stuff. This is really important. And to use just your voice to be engaging with somebody and say, hey, I know this is complicated. I know this is scary. I'm here with you. I'm here for you. We're going to go through this together. So no genre is more or less importance on a storytelling level. Some people may perceive as more fun than others, but
Mm-hmm.
I think storytelling is fun. So I'm happy to do any genre of voiceover that I'm asked to, because I can always find it's the same exercise. Who am
Yeah.
I? Who am I speaking to? How am I engaging? How am I seeking the author's truth? There is no difference between pretending to be that dragon or helping that single mom, pick out her insurance benefits.
Exactly. It's a passion in all terms, and I think it's actually fun and exciting learning all the different ways. When I had first, started in this, it was the same thing. For me it was I wanted animation in video games and all that stuff and all the shiny objects. But learning about other aspects, there were I listened to somebody who did mostly like in Disneyland, like the when you hear in the parks, or in somebody in France that had narrated like most of when you hear somebody on the subway, or
Mm-hmm.
when you're hearing this and this. There are all sorts of aspects that we aren't even thinking of. And it kind of boggles my mind, because most often when I would do pay to play sites, I would see like maybe a commercial or two, but a lot of it would be like animation and video games. So for the less sought after genres, where would you say would be good spots to find that work?
Online casting sites are the best places to find the informational, non-broadcast work, because agents and managers and casting directors tend not to cast projects like that, because frankly, there's no money in it, because there's no usage fee.
Mm,
There's no residuals or royalties for most of that stuff. So, I mean, there are self-marketing strategies, which we don't have time to get into, and the efficacy of direct and indirect marketing strategies has dropped by 10% every year since 2014.
mm-hmm.
And that comes straight from Apollo.io, which is the CRM that's all about direct marketing. I read an article this year where it said that from them. So
Oh.
that's interesting.
Hmm.
So online casting sites is the best place to go. Now, I know that most of the people who are watching and listening are on Casting Call Club, or they're on Discord servers, or
Yeah.
subreddits, or Twitter. And I'm sure you've all experienced, it's mostly no pay or very low pay
Yeah.
work in a lot of the genres of stuff that you want to get into. The pay-to-play sites, the Voices.com, Voice123, Badalgo, VO Planet, there are just oodles and oodles of informational non-broadcast work to be had. And here's the other thing, is that most of the anime and cartoon stuff is audition and pray. You do the audition, you
Yeah.
pray you get it, you get the job, you get paid, and now you start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
With a lot of the e-learning, explainer, industrial, corporate, medical stuff, often you audition once, you book the gig, and then a few weeks later or a few months later, they're like, hey, we got another one for you, and you don't have to audition. So that
Yeah.
$400 e-learning module turns into $4,000 of e-learning
Mm-hmm.
modules, or $40,000 of e-learning modules over the years. And Inspector Gadget and Red Dead did not pay my rent, Zelda.
No.
E-learning modules pay my rent.
Yeah.
Explainers pay my rent. They pay for my vacations. That stuff. I mean, and trust me,
Yeah.
I love getting the Red Deads and the Inspector Gadget stuff, but that's like, you can't count on those. I can count on clients that I've had upwards of 25 to 30 years that just keep
Yeah.
coming back for more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you build a good rapport, it sounds like it's way more of a chance of consistent revenue as opposed to just going after the shiny objects.
Yes, and audition and pray and the shiny objects should be part of a balanced breakfast. That's a voice
Yeah.
actor, but I don't know anybody except for Jennifer and a precious few others that it's actually their meal.
Yeah. Exactly. Do you use LinkedIn at all to your advantage?
Oh yes, I've been on LinkedIn. 2008, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on there for a very, very long time. It is important to have a good profile on LinkedIn. It is
Yeah.
important to be present on LinkedIn. I mean, can I count on one hand the amount of clients I've actually gotten from being on LinkedIn? Yeah, I can count on one hand in 15, 16 years. It's it's another form of direct and indirect. It's another combination of direct and indirect marketing. Social
Mm-hmm.
media, by definition, is an indirect marketing strategy, but like attempting to contact and make relationships with potential clients on LinkedIn is a direct marketing strategy, and it has an extremely low percentage of working, because if you think about it, how many explainer video producers are hanging out on LinkedIn all
Yeah.
day looking for the next great voice actor. Like, they're
Right.
not. Somebody on Facebook last year posted an infographic where an explainer video producer posted a pie chart of the amount of time spent on every aspect of the explainer video being produced, writing it, legal department, accounting department, storyboards, meetings, that sort of. The casting and production of the voiceover part was 1.5%.
Huh.
And we are thinking about them 100% of the time. They
Yes.
are thinking about us 1.5% of the time.
Yeah.
They only think about us when they need us. And we are constantly tearing our hair out trying to
Yeah.
find a voice seeker that will give us give us a job or give us jobs. That's another reason why this direct and indirect marketing strategies are so challenging. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You need to do it. You just need to do it thoughtfully and carefully and consistently.
Do you think aesthetic matters in terms of marketing yourself in the sense of like, let's say, my website's pretty like, it doesn't stick to like, it's not all cutesy and pink and very anime, or it's not all, some people like to make their marketing aesthetic towards their personality. Like, oh, I'm a really big video games person, so I'm making my website video game themed. Do you think that aesthetic would hinder, like, if my website was all video game, like 80s video game themed, trying to do explainer videos, because if they click on my website or something and they see my demos, it might be great, but the aesthetic may not. I don't know. Do you think that helps or hinders?
It definitely hinders
Yeah.
because voice seekers have horse blinders. They have this
yeah.
project on their desk right now. They need to find somebody or 4 or 5 people to send to the end client now. And anything that interferes with that, they will just be like, ugh, I can't. And they just got to go. They got to go to the next thing.
Yeah.
Our job as voice actors, with all the marketing strategies and whatever, is to get them to yes as quickly as possible. The yes is download your demos. Get them to your website, download your demos, and have it on file, because they may have a project for you in the next 5 minutes, or they may not have a project for you in the next 5 years. You don't know. My record from starting to market to a client to getting a booking is 10 years, and that was 10 years ago.
Wow.
So you want to do everything to grease the skids, to lubricate the sales funnel, to get them into it and through it as efficiently as possible. This is why, and I don't recommend this for most of you who are starting out right now, but you should have a landing page for every genre that you've gotten training and a demo in. If you've only got one set of genre training and one demo, make your website as, I don't want to say generic as possible, but just as simple to navigate. Hi, this is me. This is my training. This is my equipment. Here's my downloadable demo. Here's my contact information. And just keep it very, very clean. Make it as easy as for them as possible to find you, download your demos, and peace out, because you are number 72 of 463 voice actors that emailed them today that they've got to get through, and they have to do the other 98.5% of this explainer video that they're working on.
Yes, and I'm glad you say that, because there are some websites that I've seen that I'm like, click, 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 scroll down, click, there's the demo. A lot of it is based, from what I see, some of it is based on like performative, and that's okay, but as long as it's, here's what I can do, it's really simple to go here, 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 and here.
Yes, but your demos, your downloadable demos, should be above the fold on your website, because they don't have the time. They don't have the interest or energy or patience. And what if they're going through a bus? What if they're on a bus going through a tunnel or in a dead zone, and they're trying to get to your whatever, and they just can't? They'll be like, nope, and they just go to the next one. So downloadable demos above the fold. Get them to yes as quickly as possible.
Besides having downloadable demos and like very top, quick as possible, are there any other must-haves for voice actors?
Yes. Email address, social media buttons, phone number. Now,
Phone number.
Yes, the reason is that you want to, and I'll give all the caveats. You want to give every voice seeker the ability to contact you the way they want to contact you. Okay? Now, nobody calls anybody anymore. But if that potential client is over the age of 60, they're probably going to want to pick up the phone and talk to you.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to deal with that.
Mm.
Now, I do also understand, because been giving this advice for 15 years, is that there are a number of people who are uncomfortable having their phone number on their website for a lot of reasons, which is why I always recommend then a Google Voice number, have that on there. I used to say a Skype number, but Skype is gone.
Yeah.
So they have digital pagers now where you can like get paged and then you can make the call. But you want to get them to the yes, which could be contact you, because what if they have a gig for you right now and they're checking your afternoon availability?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to mess around with that, because what if that email that they sent you gets stuck in your spam filter, or what if they click on something or type in something wrong and it never gets to you, and then you lose the gig that you didn't even know existed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think phone number is a really, really good way to go. Social media buttons, because now I preface this by saying is that voice seekers don't spend any time paying attention to anything that any of us are posting on social media, because they don't care and they don't have the time, and they're too busy posting their social media content in a desperate hope that people will give them money to produce these explainer videos and then have a budget to find us voice actors and then cast us and pay us. Most of the time, the only time that voice seekers are paying attention to us on social media is to see if we are an NDA violator, if we complain about clients online, or if we're some kind of political or religious whack job that could potentially damage their reputation and finances. So again, they're not vetting us. For the most part, they're not. They're doing a quick look around. Oh, downloadable demo. All right, let's see if this person's an AI. Nope, that Facebook page looks real. Okay, let's download the demo, and if we have something for them, we'll let them know. But yeah, those are the big ones: is downloadable demos, phone number, social media buttons, contact, and email address.
What would your recommendation be? So I hear this often from newer up and coming voice actors that I'm not building a website until I have demos. What are your thoughts on that?
Websites entail legitimacy. If you're a business, you should have a website. And using a pay-to-play page, it's very simple. If you don't have a website, most voice seekers aren't really going to take you seriously, because if you're not serious enough to get a website, then why would they take a chance on you?
Yeah.
This may be a relatively old school mentality, but knowing that you spent the time and the money to just build a basic landing page denotes that you are a professional and that you are taking yourself seriously. Also, if you are using any form of direct or indirect marketing strategies, you got to get them to go somewhere, because all marketing involves either passively or actively a CTA, or call to action.
Yeah.
For voice actors, that is, go to my website and download my demos. And if you don't have that, you're making it harder for them to navigate to you and get to the yes that they want, which is having the demos in hand for future or current consideration.
Yeah. Would voice samples be okay to put on if they don't have a demo?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because what are voiceover demos but just a compilation of samples?
Yeah.
Right? And voice seekers are far less interested in monolithic demos than they are in individual samples. Because, like, if I'm TomDeere.com, you can go and check out my commercial demo, and whatever, spot 3 is the Honda spot on the commercial demo. But if I'm marketing to an automotive production company that only makes car spots, am I going to make them go to my commercial demo and wait until spot 3 to hear that Honda spot? No. They may already be done. They may have already made a decision before they even got to spot 3 and left. So you want to make sure that your demos should be modular, if possible, interactive, so you can skip it and go to click spot 3, or just have individual samples, but just make sure they're properly labeled with the genre and perhaps the subgenre. Male commercial automotive. So it's a guy who's narrating a commercial that's in the automotive subgenre.
What would your advice be for beginners that are looking to build a site? Like, what platform would you recommend that's the most beginner friendly?
There's a bunch of them. I mean, GoDaddy, Squarespace, Weebly, they all have, very basic sites. I'm a Wix fan.
Me too.
Both TomDeere.com and my coaching website are both Wix-based sites. One, because they're very easy to use. It's a lot of drag and drop and templates and stuff like that. But the other thing is that you can use Wix as your CRM to store all of your contacts. You can use it to invoice clients. You can use it to collect payments from clients. You can use it to blog. You can use it to make social media posts. You can do a lot of things all in one site. That's bundle. All these services are bundled, and then you can, pick the tier, subscription tier, the package that works for you. But I did the math because I used to have this over here and this over here and this over here and this over here, and then when I got rid of everything and moved it all into Wix, I saved a few $100s a year.
Yeah.
So I always recommend Wix.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm a pretty big Wix person too, but that was kind of the first one I had landed on. I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna pick this one, and I figured it out the easiest. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna highlight some of the comments for a sec.
Sure.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
And Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Thank you. Kevin, this is all very good advice.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, so one of the next topics that I have a question on is the one that you had mentioned in the beginning, tax advice.
Yes.
It can be so overwhelming, especially, learning about 1099 and write-offs and everything. How do you kind of keep track of it all? Like when it comes to pretty much all of it.
For the past 20 years, I've been developing what I call a cash flow spreadsheet, and it tracks every penny that goes into my voiceover business and goes out of my voiceover business. So it's very powerful on a number of levels. First, I track every voiceover gig that I do, including the invoice number, the currency, because I have international clients. I even track the genre of voiceover. I track whether it's a booking from an audition or whether it's a booking that came directly from a client. I track whether it came from an agent or whether it came from a casting site or if it came through my marketing efforts. And what's nice is the way I've set it up with all the formulas is that it has like a running tally of everything on the right side of the spreadsheet. And for the tax purposes, all of my expenses are in individual columns, and then I auto sum it at the bottom. So when it's time to file my taxes, it's not like I take a laundry basket of receipts and like dump it on my CPA's head. I don't bring my receipts. I just say, this was this much, this was this much, this was this much, because I'm just reading off the spreadsheet that I've been filling out as I've been going along throughout the year.
Wow.
And it's a free template. If you guys message me, I'd be happy to send it to you.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. I might actually message you for that.
Cool.
It's for me. I know what to do at this point. It's just, wow. It's, sometimes I'll be in a rush. I'll buy something. Okay, this could be right off. I need this for my business. And then I forget about it. And then at the end of the year, I'm awful. Don't follow me in what I do. I just like frantically find all my receipts at the end of the year. I used to put it in like one Google file, I quickly scan it and then just throw it in like a Google Drive, and then I'd eventually just let it sit there until I panic towards the end of the year. But yeah, don't do that. Spreadsheet track.
That's why I have the Excel spreadsheet open all day, every day. Because when it's just one of the things I just open every day, and it's there waiting for me, and I just fill it out as I go along.
Yeah, and it takes you little to no time if you do it every day. Yeah,
that's
if you
correct.
Consistently keep an eye on it. Yeah.
Yep.
How did you get a sense of all of this marketing knowledge? Like, how did you get like your sense of grounding in marketing and the business aspect of it all?
Failing a lot. And former life, I used to work for a company, a restaurant chain, which has since gone out of business. There's a handful of them left around the country called Bennigan's. There's like an Irish American themed restaurant. It was like the whole Bennigan's, Houlihan's, Applebee's kind of casual dining thing. So I used to travel the country opening those. I had a home base restaurant in New Jersey, and then they'd be like, okay, you're going to Colorado, you're going to Buffalo, and I would go there with a bunch of other trainers from around the country, and we would train the staff, and then we'd open the restaurant, be there for a week or so, make sure everything's going okay, and then we fly home. So that helped me a lot developing organizational skills, guided discussion skills. So when I have my speaking engagements at conferences or I'm, teaching classes for y'all at Skills Hub, also coupled with some books that I read, like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and Rich Dad Poor Dad, Talent is Overrated, The War of
Oh, yeah.
Art, a whole bunch of books, and I have a recommendation library on my coaching site that people can check out if they want, with all these books, along with gear recommendations and stuff like that. So that was a big part of the foundation of it. But what really, and I mean, I wasn't kidding at the beginning, Zelda, I'll put it to you this way. You drive to the mall, you get out of the car, boop, 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 you go in the mall, you come back out, you forget where your damn car is.
Yep.
And you do it again and again and again and again and again. And then you're like, okay, I'm sick of this. I got to get out of the car. I'm going to remember to stop. I'm going to look. All right, I'm in row H. Okay, there's a tree with a pair of sneakers hanging from it. Okay, row H, sneaker tree, get in the mall. Come back out. Okay, row H, sneaker tree, there's my car. So I just got sick of doing things wrong or doing things over and over again, not knowing if I'm doing it right or how I'm doing it. But so it was a lot of repetition. So there really is something to be said for wisdom and experience. Just, repetition of being like, okay, this isn't working. This isn't working. Oh, this is working. This is working. And now it's not working. A friend of mine, one of my business partners is a competitive archer. And he would always say, you have your technique, you hit your bullseye, it works for 15 minutes, then it stops working. Then you have to come up, make more adjustments, hit the bullseye for 15 minutes, then it stops working. Voiceover is the same way. I also, it took me a while to figure out what marketing really is. When you come into the voiceover industry, you come in from this kind of combination of sniveling, starving artist and self-aggrandizing clown, and it's all about sell, 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 and me, and that's all a lot of garbage.
Yeah.
I define marketing as the art and science of developing meaningful relationships. And that's really what you're looking for. But you're not fooling anybody. When you cold email a potential client, they know what you want. They want you to give them money to say stuff.
Yeah.
And that's fine. They expect that. They want that email because they want to be able to have a roster of voice actors that they can serve up to their end clients and present, oh, this one, oh, this one, great, they're wonderful, pay them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you understand it's about developing relationships, meaningful relationships, not necessarily transactional. Some of your clients can have a pure transactional relationship, but others, like there's people I've been working with for 25, 30 years, and they could work with anybody else, but they keep coming back to me.
Yeah.
So because I've developed a relationship with them. It's not because they like my face and don't like yours. It's just that trust was developed over a long period of time, which involves showing up on time, taking direction, communicating well, and doing all the things you need to do to be effective as a voice actor.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, Chumble Chap. Wish I wasn't at work now so I could watch this. Thank you both for being excellent and sharing your excellence. Aw, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Tom, I could ask you 500 more questions. There's so much value that you bring. But I'm going to ask you one more fun question before I let you go.
Okie doke.
If your voice could narrate somebody's life for a day, who would you want it to be and why?
It's funny. Well, the knee-jerk ego reaction is me. But the one that actually came to the top of my head was David Attenborough.
Ooh, oh, that would be a good one.
Because he's such a fascinating person. He invented the genre of the wildlife documentary. He created it.
Yeah.
Of his own. It was his own idea, and he's like, I've got an idea, let's do this. And he's been doing it for 60, 70 years and doing it brilliantly. So I think he would be an amazing person to document and watch and narrate. So
that'd be such a good one. Yeah, that's really smart.
What's yours?
Ooh, gosh, I don't know. David Attenborough's a really good one.
Don't steal mine. You gotta come up with your own.
Oh, geez. I don't know who I'd want to narrate.
Well, think about it, and then you can post it in the description.
Right. I have no idea whose voice. You know what? I guess, I would probably want to narrate Helena Bonham Carter. I don't know. I
I
feel
have
like
a
she'd have
crush
an
on
interesting
her.
day.
She's
Yeah,
so
me
awesome.
too. She is so cool.
Like
Her style is
I have a man
amazing.
crush. I mean, I think she's beautiful, but I have a man crush on her because she's just so cool and she's such a good actor
She
and she's had
really
such an
is.
amazing voiceover and on camera journey. So I think that's an amazing
Yeah,
choice. Well
I'm gonna
done.
stick
Well
with that
done.
one. Oh, thank you, love. Super insightful as always, Tom. Thank you both for an awesome interview. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, before I let you go, besides being an amazing coach on SkillsHub.life, where else can we find you?
I strongly recommend to go to tomdeere.com, TOMD as in David, HEERE, because if you want to work with me as a coach, I really think you should check me out as a voice actor,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of vet me. Like I said, I gave you the top credits, and I'm a marketing and business coach, but only of that is as good as applicable as I can be as a performer, because I could be the best marketer in the world, but if I can't book anything based on talent or experience, or then what good am I? So yeah, so I encourage you to follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn. I have a robust YouTube channel, so just type in Tom Dheere and you can find me on all of those platforms.
Amazing. Thank you so much again, Tom, for joining us. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and all your lovely comments. Be sure to stay tuned for who we have next week. Bye, everybody.